Good morning and welcome from Ravenna, Italy. So this is a town of about 150,000. We're on a cruise and this is our first port. Some people are going into Venice. It's about a 2.5-hour bus trip there, but we did Venice already, and so we are staying here in Ravenna. Ravenna is known for its churches and cathedrals with all kind of mosaics, and so we're going to see if we can get in some of those and see those. It is also where Dante from Dante's Inferno lived, and I think this is where he died and was buried. So Ravenna, Italy, and right now we are in the town center. This is a big square, and I guess this is the happening spot. It is about 10:49 in the morning, and so not super busy yet, but I imagine as the day goes on it's going to keep getting busier. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. We're going to try to find some cathedrals. Ravenna is a city in Emilia-Romagna, Italy. It is renowned for its rich history and stunning Byzantine mosaics. It served as the capital of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century and later became the capital of the Byzantine Empire. This city has many buildings that were from the 5th and 6th centuries, and 8 of these buildings have been labeled UNESCO World Heritage Sites because of their exquisite 5th and 6th century mosaics. Alright, so we found the first cathedral. Eric is in line getting tickets so we can get in and see all these mosaics that everybody's been talking about. So hopefully we'll get some tickets. We tried to get them online, but they said they were all sold out for today. But there was a line where you could buy them here, so we'll see what happens. This octagonal building is the Basilica of San Vitale. But before we go in here, we are going to visit a tiny little mausoleum that's on the same grounds. And here is the Mausoleum of Galla Placidia. This small mausoleum is decorated with glittering gold mosaics and it also houses the tomb of Galla Placidia, sister of the Roman Emperor Honorius. And after leaving the mausoleum, we took the short walk down the sidewalk and headed to the Basilica of San Vitale. This is a 6th century church, and it is an important surviving example of early Byzantine art and architecture, and its mosaics in particular are some of the most studied works in Byzantine art. It is one of the 8 structures in Ravenna inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Its foundational inscription describes the church as a basilica, though its centrally planned design is not typical of the basilica form. This basilica boasts some of the most famous mosaics in Ravenna. Look for the stunning depictions of Emperor Justinian and Empress Theodora, as well as intricate scenes from the life of Christ. The mosaics in Ravenna are characterized by their rich hues of gold, blue, green, and red. These colors dominate the mosaics, creating a striking visual impact. Often the backgrounds are covered in gold leaf, adding a sense of opulence and spirituality. And the mosaics are meticulously crafted with tiny pieces of glass arranged to create intricate patterns and figures. But eventually it was time for us to leave the Basilica of San Vitale. So we took one last look at this amazing structure before we headed for the streets of Ravenna in search of things related to Dante. Dante was a renowned Italian poet, and he spent the last years of his life in exile from his native Florence, and he found refuge in Ravenna, where he died in 1321. Dante's political involvement in Florence led to his exile in 1302, and he wandered through various Italian cities before settling in Ravenna in 1314. In Ravenna, Dante was welcomed, and he served as an ambassador here, and he continued his literary pursuits, completing the Divine Comedy. But he died in September 14th of 1321, and he was initially buried in a simple tomb near the Basilica of San Francisco. But in the 18th century, a more elaborate neoclassical monument was constructed over Dante's tomb. Now we're in the Basilica de San Francisco. Not as many mosaics here. This church was originally dedicated to St. Peter, but in 1261 the church was handed over to the Franciscan order and rededicated to St. Francis of Assisi, giving it its current name. The basilica holds significant historical importance as the site where Dante's funeral was held in 1321. The next place we visited was Sant'Apollinare Nuovo. This place was a masterpiece. It was originally built in the 6th century by Theodore the Great, but after the Byzantine reconquest, the basilica was transformed into an Orthodox church adorned with these breathtaking mosaics. The most famous mosaics depict two processions, one of male martyrs approaching Christ and the other of female martyrs approaching the Virgin Mary. This basilica also had a beautiful courtyard with these grapevines, and on the second floor of the basilica was this area dedicated to Dante. There were a lot of murals and descriptions of all the mosaics around Ravenna, and there was a lot of history about Dante. It was a pretty cool place to visit, and we really enjoyed our time walking around up here. And the great thing was we had this whole place to ourselves. So Dante's Divine Comedy was inspired by the mosaics of Ravenna, Italy. The other great thing about this place is that we just stumbled upon it. We had no idea it was here. And the other great thing, it was free to enter. So if you're in Ravenna, this is a place you have to check out. The next place we visited was the Archbishop's Museum. It is housed within the Archbishop's Palace, which is a historical building located in the heart of Ravenna. The museum boasts a rich collection of religious artifacts, including paintings, sculptures, and decorative objects related to Christian art and the history of the church in Ravenna. It also holds historical documents, including manuscripts, parchments, and other archival materials that offer insights to the region's past. And it also holds archaeological finds, objects that were unearthed from excavations in and around Ravenna, shedding light on the city's ancient history. And this is a view of a little courtyard on the palace grounds from the second floor. It was a beautiful place. They also had this ancient calendar on display. This museum also showcased some mosaics as well, and numerous religious paintings. This is the bishop's robe. And all the ancient religious artifacts that they had on display were very beautiful, and it was interesting just walking around and looking at all these pieces. And Erica liked to read about the descriptions of the paintings so she would know the background and the history. But I just like to look at the painting and soak it in. The next UNESCO World Heritage Site that we visited was the Arian Baptistry. The baptistry follows the traditional octagonal shape common in early Christian baptistry designs. The most prominent feature in this building is the central dome mosaic, which depicts the baptism of Christ. I was surprised by Ravenna. We thoroughly enjoyed our time here, and I really didn't know much what this city had to offer before we came. But this is a city where time seems to stand still, where the whispers of emperors echo through the centuries. From the moment you step foot on this ancient city, you're transported back in time. Imagine strolling through these streets, marveling at the vibrant mosaics that adorn the walls of the Basilica of San Vitale. Imagine exploring the ancient, mysterious Mausoleum of Galla Placidia. But Ravenna is more than just ancient history. It's a vibrant city with a rich cultural heritage. Lose yourself in the charm of this historic center. Wander through the local markets and savor the delicious flavors of this region. Whether you're a history buff, an art enthusiast, or simply seeking a unique travel experience, Ravenna will leave an incredible mark on your soul. So what are you waiting for? Pack your bags, grab your camera, and get ready to be transported back in time. Ravenna awaits. Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Let me know what you'd like to see next, but we're heading to Slovenia.